Do y'all practice? Look, bro, what do y'all be doing at practice? Stephanie White, what is this team doing at practice? The Indiana Fever look like absolute garbage today versus the piss poor Dallas Wings, who are absolute trash themselves. Stephanie White subbing Caitlin Clark out every time.
That's not just frustration. That's genuine disgust from someone who's been watching this team closely. And when you see what happened on the court today, you understand why. The Indiana Fever just played their first preseason game against the Dallas Wings. And what we witnessed wasn't just a bad performance. It was a systematic breakdown that reveals some serious problems with how this team is being managed. Caitlin Clark dropped 21 points but could have had 40. Kelsey Mitchell just signed for $1.4 million and looked like she'd never played basketball before. And the coaching decisions? We need to talk about those.
And the Indiana Fever looked like they had never practiced together. They had never ran an inbounds play together. They never did. They looked like they did not know each other. It looked absolutely ridiculous. Let's start with this. The GOAT, Caitlin Clark, was on one. She came out guns blazing. She had, 8 of the first 9 points. She finished the first quarter with like 16 points. Mind you, she gets pulled out within like the first 4 minutes while she's rolling. And then she comes back in with like 2 minutes left in the first.
Here's what actually happened in this game. Caitlin Clark came out on fire in the first quarter. She scored the Fever's first 8 or 9 points. By the end of that opening quarter, she had 16 points and was absolutely cooking the Dallas defense. Snatchback threes, blowing by defenders for layups, doing whatever she wanted. This is exactly what you want to see in preseason. Your star player getting into rhythm, building confidence before the regular season starts. But here's where it gets weird. Every time Clark got hot, Stephanie White pulled her out. Clark played just 13 minutes in the first half, while Paige Bueckers played 18 out of 20 minutes. Think about that. Your franchise player, the one who just transformed this entire organization, is getting pulled after 4-minute stretches while a rookie plays the entire first quarter. Clark finished with 19 points at halftime in 5 fewer minutes than Bueckers. If she'd gotten the same playing time, she would have had 25 to 28 points by the break.
Let her play. Let her get her rhythm. Why are you taking her out every 4 minutes? Let her play. She was cooking their ass. Hitting them with snatchback threes, flew by Paige Bueckers for the layup. Doing whatever she want. Let her get her rhythm before the season starts. This is why she has these games shooting 2 of 10. The girl can't get a rhythm. Every time she gets it rolling, Stephanie White, it's like somebody's in her earpiece telling, hey, Caitlin Clark's making shots. Take her out. That's what happens every time. Stephanie White is a joke, man. I'm telling you.
Now let's talk about what this substitution pattern actually does to a player. When you're in rhythm, when shots are falling, when you're seeing the game in slow motion, that's when you need to stay on the court. That's when you build the kind of confidence that carries into the regular season. Instead, Clark gets 4 minutes, gets pulled, comes back for 2 minutes at the end of the quarter, gets hot again, gets pulled again. This isn't new either. Last season under Christie Sides, we saw the exact same pattern. Clark would get rolling and immediately get subbed out. It's like there's someone in the coach's ear saying, Caitlin's making shots, better take her out. And the result? Those games where she goes 2 for 10 from the field. You can't get into a rhythm when you're playing 4-minute spurts. Your body doesn't warm up properly. Your timing stays off. Your confidence never fully builds. Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers played the entire first quarter, the whole thing. She finished with 20 points in the first half on significantly more minutes. Now don't get this twisted. Bueckers played well. She looked good out there. But she's not the franchise. She's not the player who sold out this arena. And in preseason when the games don't count, why wouldn't you let your superstar play extended minutes to find her groove?
$4 million worth. I'm so sick of Kelsey Mitchell was awful today. She was awful. And it's one thing to be off. She was 4 of 12, 0 for 4 from 3, 12 points. She was a minus 18. The 4 of 12 happens. My thing is this. Kelsey Mitchell, you had 3 baskets off of backdoor layups from assists from Caitlin Clark. 3 out of your 4 baskets was that. You know what the rest of them was? Kelsey Mitchell standing at the top, dribble, 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 dribble. 17 dribbles, hezzy, dribble, hezzy, dribble, hezzy, step back, pull up, brick. Like, stop. Bruh, I like my Kelsey Mitchell in 2 to 3 dribbles or less. 3 dribbles max. I hate the Kelsey Mitchell that want to dribble 12 times, size you up, dribble another 10 times, size you up, step back, pull a jumper. Like, bro, stop that. You did not look like $1.4 million today. I just got to keep it real, Kelsey. You look like...
But the coaching issues are just the beginning. Let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell, because this is where things get really problematic. Mitchell just signed a contract for $1.4 million, making her one of the highest paid players on this roster. That's a significant investment for a WNBA team. And today, in her first game after getting that contract, she put up 12 points on 4 of 12 shooting, 0 for 4 from three-point range, and was a -18 on the floor. Now here's the thing about bad shooting nights. They happen. Every player has games where shots don't fall. That's not the issue. The issue is how those 12 points were scored. 3 of Mitchell's 4 baskets came off backdoor cuts where Caitlin Clark hit her with perfect passes for easy layups. Take those away and Mitchell made 1 field goal all game. 1. The rest of her possessions looked like this. Mitchell gets the ball at the top of the key. Dribbles in place. Hezzy dribble. Another Hezzy. Sizes up her defender. Dribbles some more. 17 dribbles later, she takes a heavily contested step-back jumper that clanks off the rim. This happened over and over again. It's ISO ball from the early 2000s, except without the efficiency.
Bueckers was the best 2-guard out there. I got to keep it real. Kelsey, this is why, and I'm not jumping on her because she had a bad game. It ain't even the fact that you miss it. I hate watching her dribble 38 times in the same spot and then try to score. Stop doing that. And I said this before the bad game, I would have moved on from Kelsey Mitchell this offseason. I could have spent that $1.4 million and got me 3 really good players. I could have got 3 really good players, role players. We don't need this girl dribbling in the same spot 40 times and then trying to shoot. It's ridiculous. Dantas, where the hell you been at? Bruh, Dantas is off.
Here's what makes this so frustrating. When Mitchell plays within the offense, when she's moving without the ball, cutting to the basket, catching and shooting off 2 or 3 dribbles maximum, she's effective. She's worth that $1.4 million contract. But when she falls into this pattern of dribbling in the same spot for 15 seconds before forcing up a contested shot, she's actively hurting the team. And this raises a legitimate question about roster construction. The Fever had $1.4 million to spend this offseason. They chose to invest it all in Kelsey Mitchell. But with 80% of the WNBA being free agents this offseason, was that really the best use of resources? Could they have spent that money on 3 solid role players instead? Players who move the ball, play defense, don't need 20 dribbles to get a shot off? Look, Mitchell has been with this organization for years. She's been loyal. She's put up numbers on some terrible Fever teams. But loyalty doesn't win championships. And when you're building around a generational talent like Caitlin Clark, every roster decision matters. Every dollar spent has to maximize the window you have with your franchise player.
Today, I told y'all when they did the signing. Hey, this shows you how piss poor the front office is. 80% of the WNBA were free agents. You mean to tell me y'all landed on Dantas as the backup? 80% of the league was looking for employment. Y'all went and got Dantas as the backup? Are you serious? Dantas, look, she's a sweet lady. The girl can't move. The lady can't move, man. She got cement in her shoes. I don't care if she lost. Well, I don't care about none of that. She's in great shape. She can't move. I watched her try to run out to a 3-point line. I watched her try to meet Paige Bueckers at the basket. She just can't get there. She can't rebound because she can't move her body. Then when she does get a rebound, these little guards are just coming and snatching the ball away from her. The lady can't move, man.
Now we need to address the elephant in the room, De'Arica Hamby. Or actually, let's be specific here. De'Arica Hamby's complete inability to function as a backup center for this team. The Fever signed Hamby this offseason to be the primary backup for Aaliyah Boston. On paper, it made some sense. Veteran player, championship experience, can stretch the floor from the 5 position. But what we saw today was alarming. Hamby went 2 for 11 from the field, 0 for 8 from 3-point range, 0 for 8. She couldn't hit the side of a barn, couldn't throw a rock in the ocean. Pick your cliche, because they all apply. But the shooting isn't even the main problem. The main problem is that Hamby cannot move anymore. Watch her try to close out on a 3-point shooter. By the time she gets there, the shot's already up, and the shooter's walking back on defense. Watch her try to run the floor in transition. Everyone else is at half court, and she's still crossing the free throw line. Watch her try to establish post position. Smaller guards are just bodying her out of the way because she can't move her feet fast enough to hold ground. This is a mobility issue, and mobility is everything for a modern center. If you can't move laterally, you can't guard the pick and roll. If you can't run the floor, you can't finish in transition. If you can't jump quickly, you can't rebound against players who are more athletic. And when guards are literally snatching rebounds away from you because you can't secure the ball fast enough, that's a problem that no amount of veteran savvy can fix.
Beyond the fact that the lady is 0 of 8 from 3, she can't hit the side of a barn, she can't throw a rock in the ocean. It's one thing to see her not be able to make shots. It's another thing when you are watching her and she cannot move from point A to point B, and everybody else is just like, kyum, 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 and she's just like, she can't move, man. I'm sorry. This was an awful signing. I told y'all this was an awful signing at the time. I told y'all this. Dantas is cooked, man. It's over. It's over, man. It's over, man. I don't know who was where. Sophie Cunningham, can you please stop falling all over the place? She was a ghost. She didn't get no shots up, really. Sophie Cunningham didn't get a shot attempt in 14 minutes. But I mean, it is what it is. I just want you to stop falling everywhere.
Here's what makes the Hamby signing so frustrating from a front office perspective. 80% of the WNBA was available as free agents this offseason. 80%. That means the Fever had their pick of dozens of quality players at every position, and they chose Derica Hamby as their backup center. This wasn't a situation where they had limited options. This wasn't a desperate signing because nobody else was available. The market was flooded with talent, and the Fever's front office looked at all those options and decided that Hamby, at this stage of her career with her mobility limitations, was the best choice to back up Aaliyah Boston. That's not just a bad decision. That's organizational malpractice. Yes, they got her on a minimum cut.
I saw from Raven Johnson. Raven Johnson had 5 steals, 5 assists, 3 points, okay? Raven Johnson played really, really, really well. Really well. Really impressed with her defense. She did a great job, man. AZ Fudd did not look good. Did not look like a number 1 pick. She's not a number 1 pick. She's not a number 1 pick. 2 of 7. She had 4 points. She's not a number 1 pick. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. It is what it is. She's not better than any of the other guards they have there. She's not better than Isaiah James. She's not better than, but she AZ Fudd looked bad out there. But it is what it is. First game, maybe it'll get better.
Now, it wasn't all bad today. Let's give credit where it's due. Michaela Timpson looked solid in limited minutes. She scored 11 points on 3 of 4 shooting, got to the free throw line and made 5 of 7. That's exactly what you want from a role player. Efficient, didn't force anything, took what the defense gave her. Raven Johnson showed why she's going to be a defensive menace in this league. 5 steals, 5 assists, 3 points. Yes, she had 3 turnovers, but she was actively disrupting Dallas's offense all game. 4 of those steals came in the first half alone. She's got quick hands, great instincts, and the kind of defensive intensity that can change games. And Paige Bueckers, despite the minutes controversy, actually played well. 20 points, looked comfortable running the offense, made good decisions with the ball. The issue isn't her performance. The issue is the rotation management that gives her 18 minutes while the franchise player gets 30. So let's put this all together, because what we saw today isn't just about one preseason game. This is about patterns. This is about organizational decisions that are going to define whether the Fever can actually capitalize on having a generational talent like Caitlin Clark. First, the coaching. Stephanie White has to figure out her rotation management. You cannot keep pulling your best player every time she gets hot. Clark needs extended minutes to build rhythm. She needs to play through mistakes. She needs to develop chemistry with her teammates that comes from playing together for long stretches. These preseason games are specifically designed for that purpose. The score doesn't matter. The win doesn't matter. What matters is getting your star player comfortable and confident before the games count. And yes, it's just preseason, But patterns established in preseason tend to continue into the regular season. If White is already showing this tendency to overmanage Clark's minutes, what happens when they're in a tight game in June? What happens when Clark is cooking in the third quarter of a playoff game? Are we going to see the same 4-minute rotations that kill momentum and break rhythm? Second, the roster construction. The Kelsey Mitchell contract looks questionable after today's performance. Not because of one bad game, but because of the playing style we saw. If Mitchell is going to dribble in place for 15 seconds before taking contested jumpers, that's not $1.4 million worth of production. The Fever need her to be the efficient catch-and-shoot threat who moves without the ball, not the ISO scorer who stops the offense. And the De'Erica Hamby signing, that's going to be a problem all season. When your backup center can't move, can't shoot, and can't provide reliable minutes, you're essentially playing with a short bench. Aliyah Boston is going to have to play heavy minutes all season because there's no trustworthy backup. That's not sustainable over a long season, and it's definitely not sustainable in a playoff series. Third, and this is the bigger picture issue, the Fever are in a championship window right now. Caitlin Clark is on a rookie contract. That's 4 years of having a superstar at below market value. That's your window. That's when you have the financial flexibility to build a championship roster around her. And the early returns on how the front office is using that window are not encouraging. Think about what the Fever could have done with that $1.4 million they gave Mitchell. They could have signed 2 or 3 quality role players who complement Clark's game, spot-up shooters who can space the floor, defensive specialists who can guard multiple positions, athletic bigs who can run the floor and finish lobs. Instead, they kept the status quo, re-signed Mitchell to a big deal, and brought in a backup center who can't move. This is how championship windows close without ever opening. You have the superstar, you have the fan support, you have the national attention, but you make conservative roster decisions that don't maximize the talent you have. You stick with familiar faces instead of making the hard choices that winning requires. You prioritize loyalty over championship construction. Now, is one preseason game enough to draw all these conclusions? By itself, no. But this game revealed tendencies that have been present for a while. The substitution patterns that plagued Clark last season. The ISO-heavy offense that Mitchell falls into when she's not hitting shots. The lack of reliable depth at key positions. These aren't new problems. They're ongoing issues that one preseason game brought into sharp focus. The good news is that it's preseason. There's time to adjust. White can figure out her rotations, Mitchell can get back to playing within the offense. The front office can make moves if Hamby proves unplayable. But the concerning part is that these issues were all predictable. They were all visible before the season started, and the organization either didn't see them or chose not to address them. So here's the question for Fever fans. Do you trust this coaching staff and front office to maximize Caitlin Clark's prime years? Because that's what this is really about. Clark is going to be great regardless. She's going to put up numbers, make highlight plays, sell out arenas. But being great individually and winning championships are two different things. Championships require organizational competence at every level. Smart roster construction, tactical coaching, player development, depth management. And based on what we saw today, there are legitimate questions about whether the Fever have those pieces in place. Stephanie White is a respected coach, but the rotation decisions today were baffling. The front office made moves this offseason, but were they the right moves? The roster has talent, but is it constructed properly to win when it matters? These are the questions that one preseason game against the Dallas Wings has brought to the surface, and they're questions that are going to follow this team all season long until they prove they have answers. Because Caitlin Clark is going to do her part. She's going to show up and dominate. The question is whether everyone else in the organization is going to do theirs. What do you think? Are the Fever wasting Caitlin Clark's rookie contract with questionable roster moves? Should they have moved on from Kelsey Mitchell and used that money differently? Is Stephanie White's rotation management going to be a problem all season? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you think I'm overreacting to one preseason game, tell me why. Because right now, what I saw today looked like a team that's not ready to compete for a championship, despite having a championship-caliber superstar.